Howdy folks, Alex here again, back to talk to you about your critical synthesis literature review assignments that you've been working on throughout the semester, and hopefully something that you see how every one of the written assignments has been pointing towards. This is a pretty critical skill that I think will help you quite a bit as you move forward in your career both in CIE and elsewhere. But the idea is that we read a lot in our field. I just can't express, and you know from the reading load from this class and others that you might be enrolled in that looking through what is being written, looking through the research literature that's out there is a key component to what we do in our field, because we're always building on the ideas and the evidence that has come before us. Regardless of your particular topic or theoretical framework, we are all doing this. So a critical synthesis literature review is going to be very important. Now, in a previous screencast from a week or two ago, I believe, I looked at Harris Cooper's book, Research Synthesis and Meta-Analysis from 2009, that you have as an assigned text for this class. And I talked about some of the different elements of a research synthesis, what it was, how he defined it, what some of the steps were. And more than one of you have noticed that when it gets into the analysis and integrating outcomes step of Harris Cooper's book, he really focuses on a meta-analysis approach rather than simply a research synthesis. And I'm not asking you to do anything that would require a quantitative analysis for this research synthesis. So I want to emphasize that while these are the steps, formulate the problem, search the literature, gather information, etc., all the way down to present the results. And you can see the pages that I'm talking about up here, right? Even though that is the case and that is what we're looking at, these are the pages, we're looking at from the text, I do want to emphasize that you're not doing a meta-analysis. So there should be no quantitative analysis that goes with what you're doing for my class. Do I think it's important for you to read about it in the book? Absolutely, so that you understand what it is and so that you can think about how to move forward with that if you ever wanted to do it. But this is not a typically methods-oriented course. There's another course for that. So this is meant to be a very practically applied text for you. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time in the screencast going over exactly what it is you'll be doing for the final critical synthesis literature review. So let's just take it a little step by step. In addition to the screencast from before where we looked at the book specifically, I'd like to literally walk you through this. And if you have some time, pause this and answer the questions that are posed for yourself before you move on. First of all, you have to identify one topic. And this is what we did when we met together in our individual meetings. So I think everybody in the class has had a chance to meet with me at least once to talk about what your topic is as you move forward. Now, there are a couple of questions that you can ask and answer yourself. One, is it both practical and useful to propose research on one topic more than others? In other words, can you actually research it? And will it be helpful to research it? That is going to be important for you. You want to know why you would be doing this and if it is possible. If you have found your one topic, and I think most of you have found at least a big topic, a broad topic, and you're working on narrowing it, it would be helpful if you could list 2 to 3 main constructs related to that one topic. Now, what is a construct? A construct is an idea or a particular way of thinking about something that you might want to investigate further that will relate to your one topic. So if I'm interested in gender inequality in math and science education in the Middle East, then the constructs I might use are gender. I might use socioeconomic status. I might use some measure of separation based on gender, right, etc. These are often categorized as dependent variables, independent variables, and then other stuff that will mediate the relationship. Right? So a dependent variable, as I explained before, is something that is going to depend upon variation in something else. Let's say that achievement might be. So in the example I used before, achievement was the dependent variable Gender was the independent variable, because we can say that achievement might change based on someone's gender. But someone's gender is not going to change based on achievement. Do you see how that works? All right. Now, if I were you, and let me take the ink off of here, I might think about just taking a few moments to write a short paragraph about how I think these constructs interact. You've got your one topic, you've got your main constructs. Now, write a short paragraph about how you think those constructs work together to influence that one topic. That will orient you in a way that maybe you haven't been oriented before, or maybe you haven't thought about your topic before, and will guide you as you begin to look through the literature, or even thinking about what literature you should be looking at. So this is a way to move forward. Even if you've already done all of your 20 references for your annotated bibliography, I would still recommend doing this as a way to maybe confirm or at least solidify what it is that you think you're studying, what are the components of that, and how you see them being related to one another. All right, so if you are game for it, I'd pause right now and do that. The next thing I would do is I would write one complete sentence that tells what your proposed synthesis is about. You could do this. My proposed synthesis is about how college professors' teaching methods can help graduate students become better researchers. All right? This is your goal or your purpose or your objective. Right? This is why you're doing what you're doing. And this is going to be important when you're thinking about why it's important and how it contributes to comparative and international education, research, and understanding. I would also ask you, this should say, instead of proposal, this should say research synthesis. I would also ask you to write a working title for your research synthesis. Consider including in your title what your main constructs are, what the relationships might be between those constructs, and your purpose. That is all going to be important as you create that title. Right? So you want to be as descriptive and appropriate as possible in titling this. And I would like for you to have a title for your final assignment. The next step is to systematically review the literature. This is something that I hope you have already started to engage in. You can say that it's the process of listening carefully to the ongoing discourse about a topic of inquiry, right? So you, as a researcher looking through the literature, are listening to what other people are talking about, specifically related to your topic. Now, it doesn't always mean that you're going to hit the nail on the head, right? Sometimes you're going to be talking about or listening into the conversation about maybe 2 out of the 5 constructs that you have identified are important for your topic. But you're still listening, and it's still important. Now, how do you determine which literature to review? Well, you've already discussed with me. You might want to discuss with your advisor what kinds of literature or what categories of literature you might look at. You might want to talk to your colleagues. Those would be other people that you're in the program with. Right? Or you could talk with experts like Gene Johnson in the library. You can reflect on other reading you've done for this class and other classes. Right? These are all ways that you can do that. You can use the electronic databases that you can find through the Lehigh Library, like JSTOR, like ERIC. You can use Google Scholar. I mean, there are lots of different ways that you can do that, but I would suggest maybe thinking about some of these as a way to begin, because there is a world of literature out there, and if you don't narrow it down some way, you're going to get overwhelmed pretty quickly. Now, why review the literature, and why critically review it? Well, one is you want to relate your ideas to the larger ongoing dialogue about a topic. There is nothing that you are going to think of or do that is going to be completely original, and that is a good thing, not a bad thing. You are actually building on other work that has happened, and in order to do that, you have to understand what the larger ongoing dialogue about a topic is. You're going to be able to report categories or trends in the results of previous relevant literature, and this will be key because this will determine what is needed and what is not needed. What has already been covered previously and what has not. Now, what has not been covered previously are the holes. These are the things that are missing. And this is why a critical synthesis literature review is so important, because it will identify not only what has already been talked about, what has already been addressed, but it will identify, more importantly, where there's information that hasn't necessarily been provided yet, so that you can extend or build upon what's already taken place. And finally, it provides a framework for establishing the importance of a proposed study or a topic of inquiry that you or others might want to take forward later on. All right? So think about these two in particular as a way of bringing all these others together. I'm going to pause there, and I'm going to come back with a part 2 of this screencast. So please listen to the next one.